Alright fellas, here we're back on our Pokemon Champions video. I kinda wanted to make another video to clear up a little bit of I guess my initial thoughts, pretty much, because that's pretty much what it was whenever I looked at Pokemon Champions a few days ago after the Pokemon Presents. So we can actually get like a better look of like how the actual game is gonna work for like building your Pokemon and stuff like that. There's still a lot of stuff we don't know, obviously, and we'll make videos as that information comes out. But let's go ahead and go back through this and take a look at everything here. This is like the gameplay for the most part of it, like how it's gonna look. We got ourselves the trainers. These are the main protagonists for us, I guess. Probably not gonna be too important, really. Just a battle simulator, basically. We obviously know it's going to have like all gimmicks. It's got Terrastalized Dondozo versus Mega Charizard X there. We already knew this was pretty much happening. And then assembling your team. Expand your roster with new friends, or you can bring some of your past partners into Pokemon Champions through Pokemon Home, and you can recruit Pokemon from within the game itself. Great, right? I mean, we take a look. I wish these screenshots were clickable, but we can take a look here. You can see all these Pokemon recruitable from the game. You can use your victory points in order to actually recruit Pokemon temporarily or permanently to your game, right? And you can recruit it for the champions. Trial recruitment, you can have the Pokemon for free, but you cannot modify them, and it will take away for after 7 days. And you can also not recruit multiple Pokemon for 7 days. You only do it for one, so every 7 days, pretty much. And then you can permanently recruit them, right? So, see, permanent recruitment, yeah, thousand cost. Alleged. Maybe it'll vary. Maybe it'll vary by Pokemon. Maybe they're gonna make it a little bit harder for some Pokemon to be obtained just because it'll be more expensive. But we'll just have to see, right? But train your Pokemon. This is the big one I kind of wanted to look at. Tailor your team's skills in the training feature of Pokemon Champions by using VP. You can hone your Pokemon's attack, defense, and other stats. You can even alter abilities and moves. Customize your team to match your battle style, though remember you can't train Pokemon during their trial recruitment period. So, I initially thought these were just IVs, and I thought that they just didn't show EVs. That's on me for not reading, alright? As you can see at the top, this says stat points. This is not, I mean, I'll probably have to zoom in a little bit, maybe. I don't really know how good any of the images are going to look. Okay, we're really high up. Sure. Actually, this is a lot better to actually look at. Wow. But you can see here, it says stat points. Stat points right here. With a max of 66. So, effectively, from what we can tell from the screenshot, obviously we don't know, like, everything, but pretty much from what we can tell, they have effectively removed IVs and EVs from this game in place of a new system called stat points, which have 32 maximum for each stat, and you can do 66 total. So as you can see here, this Gardevoir build, yeah, this is a Gardevoir, has 32 in HP, 32 in special attack, and then 2 in special defense for a max of 66. And it seems you can go between 0 and 32 for each of these stats. So you can go, whatever 66 to, well, 66 divided by 6, it's 11. You go like 11 or something like that, 11 in all stats, and you can get 66 that way. Or you can max out a stat like special attack and speed. And there you go. You got 64 plus put 2 in another stat, probably like HP or something. That's how you can build your stat points. This is different. Obviously, I'll go into EVs and IVs here. So anyone who doesn't, who knows how those work, don't really need to know that. But still, EVs and IVs. If no one is like massive on competitive or like harder or more like efficient ways to like build your Pokemon and make them stronger and stuff. I mean, most people at this point know what IVs and EVs are because like Terra raid battles, people put out guides and stuff for those, and those use like max IVs and EVs and stuff like that. Obviously, competitive Pokemon uses max EVs and IVs, like battle towers and battle facilities. You're gonna want to have like invested Pokemon, right? You're gonna want all this stuff. EVs basically are a way that you can train up by fighting other Pokemon or using vitamins to make a certain stat stronger. IVs are stats that come predetermined with a Pokemon that will make them stronger as they grow between level 1 and 100, which you can see here, right here. So, using Salamance's base stat, if it has 0 IVs and speed out of a max of 31, which is right there, at level 100, it's going to have 205 speed. If Salamence has max speed IVs, it's going to have 236 speed because that's an extra plus 31 stats. It does not gain these 31 stats at like level 1 or whatever. It'll gain them as it levels up between level 1 and level 100. So you're getting more and more stats relative to like your level. It's like probably every third level you're gaining an extra plus 1 in whatever stat has a maxed out IV, right? It's going to make the Pokemon grow stronger naturally, right? So 236 speed there, right? And then we got EVs. EVs, again, are gained by either beating wild Pokemon that give specific EVs, or you can feed vitamins like proteins, calcium, HP up, and stuff like that, or you can feed feathers like muscle feathers and stuff. I think also the Mochi in the Kitakami, like DLC and stuff, I think that also gives EVs. I don't remember. Pretty sure it does, though. And you can have a max of 252 in a given stat up to, I believe, 508 maximum. So usually people go 252 in one stat, 252 in another stat, and then 4 in another stat. And every 4 of those gives you 1 stat point, which again is, invested over time until you reach level 100, for a total of 63 points. So between IVs and EVs both, you get 94 stat points. See, Solomon's is at 205 speed here. I love that they use Solomon's as an example, by the way. That's so funny, so ironic. But 205 speed with max IVs and EVs and speed, it's got 299 speed. Massive difference, actually phenomenally huge difference, right? And that's like why it is so massive for like competitive or like these harder fights in the game, like level like 5-star raids or 5-star terror raids aren't that bad, but like 7-star terror raids and like battle facilities like the battle tower in older generations, right? Or battle tree and whatever, right? And there's also the nature, which gives an extra 10% stats, whatever, and that puts it at higher points. But champions has natures, so that's not really too applicable here, unless they make natures even more, like if they make, well, we can look, but like if they make natures have more of an impact on the Pokemon stats. Like imagine a nature is like plus 20% or something like that. Like we could see some very interesting stuff with that. But like you can see with 0 IVs or EVs invested in a neutral nature, Salamis is at 205 speed. At absolute maximum, best speed nature, best, max attack or max IVs and EVs in speed, 328 speed. Massive difference, right? Champions gets rid of that system pretty much entirely. It doesn't get rid of natures, so, the natures are still applicable as far as we know, but it gets rid of IVs and EVs, so those plus and 94 in the stats is replaced by 32 in a given stat right here. It does not seem like it's going to do any sort of like multiplicative stuff where it's like, oh, it's your IVs are 32, so you get like a total of, I don't know, double at 64 stats at like max investment or something. It seems like we're just getting 32 in that given stat. It seems that way. Could be wrong, but it seems that way. I believe they showed it in the trailer. Let me actually pull up the trailer real quick. Okay, so I got the actual video pulled up here, and they're building their team here, battles, stuff like that, whatever. Let's see, training right here. So we look at this Gardevoir stats. I think this Gardevoir is like probably level 50, I would imagine. I don't think it doesn't look like it tells us, but take a looky here. It's got max HP 175 with maxed out stat points, and you can reduce them manually, and you can see the decrease go down to 143. So 143 stats from, what was the max? 175? Yeah, that's 32. So very, very interesting to see the direct boost or decrease or whatever, right? Yeah. And you can invest them however you want. And of course the move sets here as well. So interesting to see. Modest as the nature. I am curious to see how the nature actually impacts, how much it impacts the Pokemon. I would imagine it's not going to be any different. Let's see, Modest. So the Gardevoir's currently got Modest, assuming it's got the same stats. It's got 194 special attack right now. How much is it going to have after Timid? 177 special attack. What is that percentage difference? Yeah, it seems like nature still give the same amount of like stat increases, because we saw Gardevoir go from plus special attack to a neutral nature, which would be a 10% drop. It's about 9.1%. That's about right. So yeah, it about maths out there, because round down on stats and stuff like that. So seems like nature still stay the same. But the big one is this. The big one is these stat points replacing EVs and IVs, meaning you cannot have perfected IVs in every stat, giving, you're losing at least 31 for a lot of these stats unless you invest, middle of the road for a lot of them, which is probably not the best decision. It's always best to pretty much min-max with Pokemon, right? Almost always. That's big. That's pretty big. Only natures to modify stats, and only stat points to modify stats. And even if you do modify stats, it's not even, drastic amounts. Like, we're not going to see Salamence probably with like 328 speed. We're going to be seeing Salamence closer to like this speed amount, because that's the exact stat points here. I mean, okay, add like, plus speed nature. We'll probably see Salamence like 250 some, 260 some speed, right? Which is significantly lower than if it were to actually have investment via EVs, right? So the stats are overall going to be a lot lower for all Pokemon, which doesn't matter that much. Probably not, because it's going to account for all Pokemon. But does this hurt any Pokemon in a major way? Does it like help Pokemon in a major way? Maybe. I mean, if every Pokemon has like its stats decreased, and the addition of EVs to like further excel in one stat doesn't really exist, you could see something interesting with that. You could definitely see some interesting like change ups with that. Okay. And then again, they go into natures, as we had just saw earlier, training with costing VP. We do not know how much it's going to cost, or like we know how much roughly it's going to cost for a lot of like stuff like this. I mean, it's pretty much already listed here, but we do not know how much like victory points you're going to get for battles, like how you can get more victory points other than battles, or like if you just have to grind, and hope you win, right? And of course, we got ourselves the 3 battle modes and 2 formats. I also want to go into that. We got ourselves 3 battle modes: ranked battles, casual battles, and private battles. Challenge these modes in both single and double battle formats. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much normal from what we had noticed. In ranked battles, you can go against people in like PvP settings. Unless they change it, and this is just like for the demo or whatever, it seems we're only doing 3 Pokemon. This is a single battle, not like a 4v4, which, you know, doubles is usually 4v4, pretty much always. This fight is a 3v3 single battle. So it seems like we're not doing 6v6 teams anymore, which is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. In casual battles, you can play without, you know, worrying about losing. Sadly, they do not show how many Pokemon are in this team. Imagine that double battles is just 2v2. You know, you don't get to swap out Pokemon. It's probably 4v4, but like, imagine. It'd be funny. Private battles, yeah, but you can see here as well on the private battle screen, single battle, it doesn't seem like there's any selection. Granted, this is already after the battle starts, so you have not set parameters or whatever, but this is 3 out of 3, right? So you can, at the very least, you know, even if we do end up having like 6v6s available, which I'd imagine we do, but of course we don't 100% know that yet, I don't think. We do have the ability to select like how many Pokemon you can bring to a battle as well. Which, by the way, homie, bringing a Pikachu. The thing better be Light Ball, okay? But like, you can bring 3 Pokemon to a fight. It means we can select how many Pokemon we want to actually bring and have fight. So you can do shorter battles, longer battles. I'm very curious to see how that'll go with like ranked and stuff. Like with ranked, can you select, oh, bring me into single battles that only use 3 Pokemon? You know, if you want to like farm ranked like faster, maybe. Who knows? VP cannot be directly purchased, so keep battling and gain VP to power up your teams even more, blah, blah, blah. And VP can be gained from ranked battles and other places in champions. So it says other places. I'm going to assume there's going to be PvE, not PvE stuff, but ways to get other like victory points, like through missions and stuff. I would imagine you may like, purchase a recruitment Pokemon or something, and you get like 1,000 back for like a first time or something like that. You know, they may give it to you for free. Or like, you know, win a battle with a certain type on your team and you get like an extra 500 VP or something like that, right? Like I could imagine them doing that. I'll play champions for sure, like on release. I'm not that great at PvP, but I may as well do it just for a little bit of fun. It seems like it'll be interesting at the very least. But the thing with this is that with this system of stat points, this takes away a lot of what I was thinking about earlier, where you could bring in Pokemon from home and then like invest in them in champions and take them back. Because it seems like if they keep it how it is, you're not going to be able to invest in their IVs or EVs at all in champions, and you're just going to have the same IVs and EVs on your Pokemon. So if we ever move out of champions for like official competitive Pokemon, we're still going to have that same problem of, you know, no max, people are going to be cheating because they need like that 0 speed IV or they want that 0 attack IV, and you know, it's takes a while to like farm that stuff up or whatever, right? Like people are still going to be cheating because it's still going to be a little bit rough to get a good few things in the main series. Also, like Enamorus is still probably Enamorus isn't that. I want to say Enamorus isn't that bad, but like Enamorus is still pretty bad to get competitive, actually. So I'm actually gonna bite my tongue there. I don't know how the home one is set up as a gift. I don't know what stats it can have, and if I doubt you can definitely not reset for that. At least there's a second one, right? Second Enamorus gift, but sure, whatever. Either way. Point being is that if you bring a Pokemon from Pokemon Home, I'm sure you can probably transfer them back, but they're not going to keep any of their like stat retentions or moves or whatever, probably from champions. It's probably going to be like varying based on games. So if we ever move out of champions for official competitive, you're still going to have the same struggle with a lot of like different stat investments and stuff. Or like how teams are going to be able to be built given that they don't change those restrictions in the next mainline game, right? So that's the big thing with champions now. You bring a Pokemon in from home, you modify on champions, you have fun with it in champions, but you bring it back and it's not going to keep those stats. So you still cannot use champions as a way to directly modify your Pokemon, make them stronger, and be able to go take them to like official competitive tournaments outside of champions. Sadly, right? We do not know if you're going to be able to transfer. I would imagine, I'm just imagining it, I would say you probably could transfer Pokemon from like recruitment and champions to main series games. I realistically don't know just why they wouldn't let you do that. I mean, of course, if you can like recruit legendary Pokemon, I'm sure they'll put a lock on that, or like mythicals or whatever. But like, you know, the basic Pokemon here are like a Gardevoir, Feraligatr, Serperior, Charizard, Kamoos, Sneasler, Hydrapple, like they'll probably let you transfer those to the game if you really want it, okay? I would imagine. If they don't, then they don't. You know, it is what it is. But I would say that they should. But at the same time, I don't think they've done that for like previous titles where like Battle Revolution you could transfer Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl, but I don't even know if you could transfer back from that game. I'm actually not sure, but I don't think you could transfer recruitment Pokemon over anyway. So it is what it is, though. It is what it is. That's Pokemon Champions, though. Pokemon Champions looks like it's going to be pretty fun. I hope that there is a little bit more to the game than just like straight up PvP. I know it's focused on PvP. I know it's going to be fun with PvP. I get that. I 100% understand. I'm just like a guy who likes Battle Revolution style games and stadium games where it's like hard PvE content as well. I think that can be pretty fun. So I'd like there to be some of that in this game, you know, for those people who don't want to do PvP stuff. But of course, you know, that's going to be the main focus for it. But anyway, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Pokemon Champions. It's PvP. It's different. Like, it's investments for stats compared to, like, EVs and IVs. And how you all think that's going to, like, impact competitive in this game and how it's all going to work. Especially given that we've got Mega Evolution and Terrestrialization all at once. Probably Ultra Necrozma, too, eventually. That'll be interesting. Also, by the way, it seems that we're not getting all Pokemon in this game on release. It seems like it's going to be patches, probably, that they're going to throw new waves of Pokemon in the game, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I also like the kind of excitement of like potentially waiting for your favorite Pokemon to get in the game and like maybe it has like a new move set or something like that. It could be interesting. I think it could be interesting that they do new Pokemon in waves. But anyway, I'll see you later. Hope you all enjoyed. Peace.